All right, so today we're going to go through your Chapter 7 concepts that you need to know for your test tomorrow. I do want to remind you guys that you can be using your IXL skills to have some practice problems that will help you study for your test tomorrow. For example, these questions came from your 7.1 skill in IXL. These types of questions were on your quiz, and guess what? They're on your test, okay? All right, so is it a function, yes or no, okay? But you can't get credit at all if all you say is yes or all you say is no. You have to tell me why or why not, all right? So let's start with this. We're going to start with the top one, and then we'll work our way down to the table, and then we're going to work our way across to the graph. In each one of these, so it's a different layout, right? One of them's a set of ordered pairs, one of them's a table, and one is a graph. But I'm looking for the same criteria. What does it take to be a function? Every input has one output, okay? Every input has one output. So look at number 1, okay? Does every input have exactly one output? Write it down. Okay? So if you say yes, every input has an output. If you say no, tell me which input value has the repeated outputs. Okay? So go ahead and answer that one. Same thing with number 2. So numbers 1 and 2 are the same as far as that goes. Okay, it still works. You can also use a pencil and paper if you like. Is that yours, Colin? No.
I don't have a marker.
All right, number 1, what do you guys think? Yes or no?
No.
No, it is not a function. Why?
Because it doesn't have this.
Okay. The input 1 has 2 outputs. Okay? You must tell me which input is repeating with the output values. So we see an ordered pair of 1 and 17 and 1 and 13. Now, while it can be a relation, it is not a function. Each input can only have one output. Does that make sense? Okay? That's going to save you some points tomorrow as long as you can get that. All right, now let's look down at number 2. So I want you to scan down first. Scan down on your input values. What do you guys see? What do you notice? You know, it doesn't have to have a pattern. So a lot of people on these questions are looking for a pattern. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to have a pattern. Do you see any input values repeating? No. Okay, so because no input values repeat, that means they all have their own unique output. This is a function. Each input has one output. And guys, that's your reason every time your answer is yes. That's your reason every time. All right? Okay. What do you guys think about number 3?
No.
Why would you say no? Okay, so, you know, if we were to number this. Now, the numbering isn't really that important, okay? But I do want to show you something. So this is on an input value of 6. And when I draw what we call our vertical line test, that means that this ordered pair is 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is 6, 5. And this one is 6, 10. So again, the same input value has 2 different outputs. It fails the vertical line test. All right, so I would accept, all right, obviously the answer is no. You could say that it fails the vertical line test. All right, that is an acceptable reason. You could also say that there's one input, the input of 6, you could count it. The input of 6 has 2 outputs. So it is not a function. It's not a function. It's a relation, but it's not a function. Every input has to have one output. Does that clear up any confusion? Possibly you missed that on your quiz. All right, so now you're going to have 2 questions on your test where you evaluate a linear function. So simply put, you substitute and solve. All right, this is from your section 7.2. So use the function w equals negative 2x minus 4 to find w when x equals negative 4. Be careful with your signs. All right, so this is the mistake that we'll see tomorrow. If we see a mistake happen, it's going to be with the signs. Okay, so we plug it in. Vivian, what'd you get when you did negative 2 times negative 4? Positive 8. Did you guys get positive 8?
No.
Okay, so w equals 8 minus 4, which is 4. Okay, so just be careful with your signs. So if you thought 8 was negative, you might have said negative 12. All right, so that I would count that half credit tomorrow if you make that one mistake, but the rest of your work is correct. But full credit, your answer is 4. Okay, 2 questions on your test tomorrow. Now, I say graph the function, but this is not a new concept. You've been learning this since chapter 4, okay? So what you're going to do, is this equation ready to graph?
Yes.
Is it ready to graph? Okay, so we're not going to do this on our desk because it's just going to take forever to set up a graph for just one problem. But I want everybody right now in your mind, I want you to pinpoint and think about where does the first point go on your graph. I want you to think about it right now before I say it. You're going to do it in your mind, all right? Just mentally look at the graph and look at where your first point goes. Colin, where's your first point going to go? Where? On the x-axis or the y-axis? On the y-axis. So we weren't looking over here on the x value, were we? Okay, because the last number in the equation shows me the y value that it will pass through on the y-axis, so negative 3. All right, now, someone raise your hand. Hopefully it's all 20 of you. Where do I put my second point? Tell me where to put it. Matthew. Yes, very good. I need to go from this point. I go up to over 3. I plot my point. And I draw my line straight through it. Now, I will have to take off a point tomorrow if you guys don't draw your line through the points. All right, that's not completely straight, but it's close. So just make sure you draw your line with the arrows on the ends. All right, through those points. Any questions on this? You have 2 questions on your test. All right, graph the function. You've done harder problems than what you're going to see on your test tomorrow. But we're calling it something different. Graph the function. All right, that yellow line, that's on purpose. Okay, I'm trying to separate these 2 problems. You have several problems on your test tomorrow where you need to write a linear function. Same thing that you've been doing since chapter 4, writing a linear equation. What 2 pieces of information do you need to write a linear function? Slope and y-intercept. Okay, so can I find a slope from a table of ordered pairs?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then hopefully I can find a y-intercept as well. So use the table of values. I can't stress this enough. Pull out the ordered pairs, find your slope, find your y-intercept, write your equation. Okay, so go ahead and do both of them. Do the table. This is one equation. And then use the graph to write your other equation. These are 2 separate equations. I'm going to walk around and just kind of check on you guys. All right. Pay attention, guys. Okay, so this is definitely one. I was only able to walk through about half the classroom, but there's some mistakes going on. So you need to listen to what I'm saying. And again, this is review. This is not new material. So, because again, we did the same thing in chapter 4. You need to pull out 2 ordered pairs. Okay? This is an x and a y value. Write it as an ordered pair. -2, 4. I strongly encourage you to write it down because it's very easy to get your signs messed up. Y2 minus Y1. So which one is my Y2 value? 4 minus what? Come on, guys. Come on. Yes, 4 minus 8 over -2 minus -4. What happens to my double negative?
You make it a positive.
Becomes a positive. What's 4 minus 8? Come on. -4. What's -2 plus 4? All right, so -4 over 2 is -2. So y equals -2x plus 0. With my x value of 0, my y is also 0. This is what we call a proportional relationship. Okay? You don't have to put the plus 0. Are you paying attention? Okay? You don't have to put the plus 0. You can just leave it. Just leave it, -2x. All right, did you guys get this, or do you see where you went wrong? Okay, any questions? Yes. Yes. -4 over +2 still. Because 0 minus -2 would be double negative and then changes to a positive. Right, that would be -4. But then 0 minus -2 becomes +2. So it's still -4 over 2. Okay? So it should not matter which ordered pair you use. Combination. You have 4. Oh, sorry. We haven't done number 2 yet. Okay. You need to count. Well, can you figure out slope on a line?
Yeah.
All right. Can you figure out slope on a line? Can you count what? Count rise over run between the 2 points. So rise over run, what is it? What's my slope?
Rise over 3, up 3, and then across 2.
Yes, up 3 across 2. So y equals 3 over 2x. And what is my y-intercept?
2.
What's my y-intercept?
2.
It's 2. It's a y value of 2. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
So 3 over 2x plus 2, because the line crosses the y-axis at a value of 2. Yes, it's supposed to go through y, not x. Okay? All right, any questions? Any questions on that one? Okay, so now on the next one. I know it looks like there's a lot going on. There are 4 questions on your test tomorrow. Okay? And they're all in one section, and they are all similar to this. So if you don't do anything else, at least go in the YouTube video tonight and watch this part of the review video, just to kind of hear it again. It says the table shows the revenue in millions of a company when it spends millions of dollars in advertising. So we have revenue and we have advertising. Our first value, our top value, is still our X value, and the bottom is our Y value. The first part to this, you just did one. Write the linear function from the table. All right, don't worry about the interpretation yet. All I want you to do is write the linear function. I need everybody doing it right now, okay? So I'm looking out. I'm watching for your work. I need you to use the table to write a linear function. What 2 pieces of information do you need to write a linear function?
I don't know.
Jade is the same one that says it every single time. All right, everybody together. What do you need? Slope and y-intercept to write your linear function. All right, go ahead and do it. Okay, I encourage you to write it down. 0, 4, and 1, 6. I pulled out my first 2 ordered pairs. My slope, 6 minus 4 over 1 minus 0. What's 6 minus 4? 2 over 1. Y equals 2x. Remember, whatever my slope is, I put in front of x. What is my y-intercept? Y'all tell me. What's my y-intercept? 4. It's paired in my ordered pair that has 0 for x? Colin, turn around. Okay, so 2x plus 4. Does everybody see how I got that? That's one question in this section on your test. Now my next question will be to interpret the slope. What is the slope? If you don't know what the slope is, how are you going to interpret it? All right, so what is my slope? 2 over what? No, you're fine. 2 over 1, right? Okay, so my slope is 2 over 1. The top number in my slope, is that my rise value or my run value? The top number. It's the rise, okay? So look here, look back over here to your slope. What category did those numbers come from that I subtracted? It came from the revenue category. This is my rise. This means 2 million in revenue. Over, what's my run value in this problem? Advertising. Okay, now I need you to put it into a sentence. What is happening in this scenario? Go back and read the first sentence. What the table is showing you. Okay, and I need you to put that into a statement. Right now, everybody, if I see you drawing again, you're going to write with a pencil and paper. Okay? All right, let's try to write a statement. What is going to be our slope interpretation? Okay, so to interpret the slope, all right, the company can expect, all right, what is it? All right, can expect to make, revenue is income, all right, to make 2 million in revenue. All right, I'm kind of abbreviating. For every, how much? 1 million spent in advertising. Okay, in advertising. So there's my statement. That's my slope. Do you see how I got that? Do you see how I got that? 2 million in revenue because I spent 1 million in advertising. Guys, you could do that with any other ordered pair. Pick 310. Somebody interpret that ordered pair for me. The company can expect how much? 10 million in revenue if they spend 3 million in advertising. You see how that works? You could do that with any of the ordered pairs. So now what I'm asking you to do is interpret the Y-intercept. So pinpoint, okay, which ordered pair told me the Y-intercept? 0, 4. Tell me what that means. For the Y-intercept, for 0, 4, what does that mean? All right, go ahead and just write down your statement for the Y-intercept. Okay, so according to this ordered pair, 0, look up here in the advertising column. How much did the company spend in advertising? Nothing. They spent nothing in advertising. Okay, so if the company doesn't advertise at all, spends nothing on advertising, how much revenue can they expect? They can expect 4 million in revenue. I don't have enough room to write it, but that's what you would write on your test tomorrow. If the company spends nothing on advertising, they can expect 4 million in revenue. How could they still make money if they're not advertising?
Oh, talk word to word.
Yeah, word of mouth, right? Hey, I'm looking for a good lawn care company. You know of anybody? Yeah, sure. I love my people. They didn't pay for that advertising, but they do that through having a good reputation. All right, you earn more money. So now, and again, this is very similar to how your test, obviously it's a different scenario that you're going to be looking at, but now I'm going to ask you to project a future amount that is not included on the table. How much profit, if this pattern continues, can the company expect if they spend $6 million in advertising? How much profit can they expect? So if I were to continue this pattern, I would skip an ordered pair, which is 5 and 14, and then it would be 6 and 16. So this is 16 million. 16 million that they can expect. So it just basically depends on how much they want to grow. All right. Okay. So now we're easing off of that. That's the hardest part of your test. Okay. Is the interpretations. You're not going to fail your test if you miss those questions. Okay. But you got to get the other stuff. What are some key factors that I'm looking for to decide if it's linear or non-linear? What am I looking for, Matthew? Okay. Is it in slope-intercept form, or can you make it in slope-intercept form? So I had a lot of people on the quiz Friday say that this first one that looks like this one, is non-linear. But can you get it in slope-intercept? Yes. Could you solve for y? Absolutely. So your work is to do that, to solve for y. Okay, what's my first step to solve for y? Subtract 2x from both sides. Okay, negative 6y equals negative 2x plus 12. This is a great review for you because you have one on your test tomorrow, a separate problem where you have to solve for y. Could you do it? Okay, write it in slope-intercept. Now, one more step, Isaac. What do I do across this entire equation?
Divide it all by 6y.
Very close, but divide it all by what?
6.
Not 6, but
2x.
what is it? Negative 6. Negative 6, negative 6. So y equals what? 1/3 x minus 2. This is 100% linear. Your reason why, I'm going to ask you to explain. You're explaining when you put it in slope-intercept. So what do you think about the second one? Lila, what do you think?
Would it be negative 1/3?
No, it's positive because I'm dividing, two negatives. Yeah, good question though. Hey, I can tell you're paying attention because that was a great question. Yes. Why would you say nonlinear? Okay, so on your explanation tomorrow, you're going to say nonlinear. The exponent, all right, there's an exponent. You could just say exponent. All right. The exponent keeps the equation from being written in slope-intercept. I cannot write it in slope-intercept when there's an exponent. So that's why it's nonlinear. Any questions? 2 questions on your test right there. Okay, analyzing and sketching graphs. You don't have to write it. Okay, I just want you to look at it and just, what do you think is happening between the values? Okay. The longer I drive, the more gallons I use. Okay. All right. So you could just say something like, as time goes on, the amount of gallons used increases gradually. Just something along those lines. I don't think a single person missed that on the quiz. All right. So we really don't have issues there. What about the next one? It says the flu virus spreads quickly at first and then slowly over time. So exactly right. So it just goes like straight up and then like it maybe slows down. Okay, or maybe it goes straight up and then it goes more like that. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So again, we really didn't have any issues there. All right. So cumulative review. We just did one of these. Okay, that's the one we just did for the linear, so we're not going to do it again. All right, but you have one of these in your review section tomorrow. So when you're watching the review video tonight, you could work it again. Okay, write the equation in slope-intercept form. What two pieces of information do I need on the second one? Slope, say it with me. Slope and y-intercept. It already tells me the slope. Okay, this is great. But does the ordered pair tell me the y-intercept?
Yes.
No. So what equation do you need? You need point slope. Okay? So here we go. Y minus, I want everybody to write down this equation with me. Y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, can you plug in the numbers? Plug them in. Okay, can you plug in the numbers? And then I need you to keep solving. All right, so plugging in the numbers will be one question, and then another question will be to solve.
Okay, I think I did it.
All right,
So, like, is there another step after?
so y minus 8 equals 2 times x minus 6. How many of you guys got that? Did y'all get the plug-in? All right, that's 4 points on your test tomorrow. Then the next 4 points is going to be to keep solving it. Noah, what did you do next? Perfect. One more step. Cade, what is my last step to get this in slope-intercept? Plus 8 on both sides. Okay. All right, y equals 2x minus 4. All right. So you'll have one review question where you just solve for y. You'll have one review question where you just plug it in point slope. You'll have one review question where you have to keep solving it. All right? Okay, and here's your last 2 questions. Well, from this part, and then you have a two-way table. But two-way table, I think you'll be okay with those questions. Which method would you use on this first equation? Solving a system. So would I use substitution or would I use elimination on that first one? Substitution, right? So what I want you to do, y equals 2, I want you to go ahead and plug in that 2 for y. All right, go ahead and do that. Okay, so if I made y equals 7, just follow along. It's still the same process. And I plugged in 7 for y, 3x plus 14 equals negative 4. Now I subtract 14 from both sides. I had to change it because it wasn't going to work out even. 3x equals negative 18. Okay, same sign, add and keep. X equals negative 6. All right, now because I already had a value for y, my answer is negative 6 and 7. Okay. All right, look at the last one. Which method would you use? Elimination. So what eliminates? Your 2 y's, right? Now bring everything down. Negative 10 plus 8 is negative 2x equals 2. So what does x equal? Negative 1. Okay? And then I plug in that value back into my original problem. 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. Okay, so then I get negative 8 plus 2y equals 10. I add 8 to both sides. 2y equals 18. And y equals 9. All right, so these problems, they take a little bit of time, okay? But the problems I just gave you right here are very similar to what you're going to see on your test tomorrow. Negative 1 and 9. Okay? All right, last thing. We're almost done. Okay? I saved the best for last. look at the table. All right, so it says you randomly survey students to determine who has internet service at home. Okay, so most people do nowadays because you like stream everything on TV. But so it says the results are shown in the table. So here's my grades. So in 6th grade, 30 people said yes, 6 people said no. So how many 7th grade students do not have internet? 7th grade. So 7th grade do not have internet. 3. That's all you have to say. Okay, look, internet, yes. Internet, no. So then you go to 7th grade. 28 7th graders had it. 3 did not. Okay? All right. So find and interpret the marginal frequency of students who do have internet. So what are you going to do? You're going to add all 3 numbers together. 93. So all you say is 93 students have internet. Then you're going to use this. All right. Now, this next one is going to be your bonus question. You actually have 2 bonus questions on your test tomorrow. Okay. So what percentage of students, all right, so of all the students, you just found the marginal frequency, are 7th graders. So how many 7th graders did not, I'm sorry, it said do not, so it's not that category. So hold on. So it's not this category anymore. It's this one. It said do not. So 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 7 is 16. So I would do 3 divided by 16 to figure out that percentage. Okay, so 3 divided by 16. Sorry, I was just pulling up my calculator. Did anybody do it? 18.8%. Okay, so it's about 18.8%. So you're going to have to find the total for that category and then divide whichever value it's asking for by the total. All right, and that covers everything for your test tomorrow.